that way, then I'm not.
So today we're starting a new segment. It's nothing technical. We're just making fun of the way cars look. Maybe it contributes somewhat to the function of the car, but for the most part, what turns us off? Maybe what turns us on, if we ever get to one like that. But for today, it's my car, so we're not going to worry about turn-ons. So, we got the front angle.
I don't know. I really like I usually it's going to be dislikes, but I have the same car, so I'm like, I like its 80s boxiness, a little throwback. And it's something you don't see every day on the road, which is why I really like it. It's just kind of a cheap standout car, right? And for someone who's older, right, the way a lot of people look at classic cars, this was something a lot of people saw around. And so they recognize it, and I guess it kind of takes them back to another time in ways classic cars do for lots of other people. That being said, it is 31 years old now, so it is a classic car in a sense. Yeah, but that front end profile. The thing I never understood with this was the signal lights. They were mounted on the front bumper, which to me never made much sense because you can only really see them from the front because they're recessed in the front bumper, which is great for oncoming traffic. But unlike a lot of modern cars, there's no side indicator on the front. Actually, there's no side indicator on the rear either, as I recall.
Lots of room. And lots of room for it.
And this one doesn't have all that front fender rust. It's pretty common. Actually, pretty clean. And it's got that wedge shape profile everyone was going for in the 80s and 90s for fuel efficiency. I guess. I can't remember what it's like. I remember reading one day on the back of a old National Geographic, the thing had like a 0.31 drag coefficient because of its wedge shape, and advertising 43 mile per gallon, which in 1987 is pretty good, but I mean, you're kind of, I believe you were at the end of that fuel crisis. But that's the front end. You look at the side, you can't, there's nothing too distinguishing about it. It's just kind of a box. It's almost, I want to say Jetta-like, but because of that wedge shape, it's not. It's I don't know. The roof line makes me think of like a Chrysler product, but yeah, it's definitely weird. Definitely some weird looking proportions on it. Because I mean, like where the A-pillar comes down is so far behind the front wheel, and I guess that was just the design. It's kind of an inefficient use of space there. But upside is there's lots of room to work under the hood. There's lots of room in that engine bay. Get anything on the side there, Dave?
This looks like a mommy VCR and a daddy lawnmower loved each other very much. I mean, the side profile, it kind of just... if this was a red car, I would wonder if I was having pizza delivered to me. What I do like is that it's incredibly light, and you can see there's almost like 90 degrees happening between the front wheel, the driver's head, and the rear wheel, and that makes for kind of an interesting geometry. It feels very direct. I don't know if that's how they come up with that, but it just doesn't feel draggy. I've been trying out a couple of other cars, and the rear end being further back is different. Again, side indicators, just there's two lights in the corner lens, and neither of them do anything but just shine, so it's a little bit strange. But there is room to retrofit signals too. If I had a second, like the other market's got this nice trim that went on the trunk that just kind of dresses things up a little bit. And I guess it's just a matter of preference. Like, I think mine's got black spray where the license plate goes, but I think it just kind of cleans things up a little bit. Just makes it one
Almost
flush surface.
Almost makes you wonder if someone had like some massive speakers in the back of the trunk, and that's some sort of anti-rattle for the rear license plate. Yeah, I guess it's also worth noting you have the upscale model, so you have that chrome trim running around the outside that really luxes it up. And again, looking at the rear quarter, you see that rear marker light, which is only a clearance light. Just like the front corner lights, they're a marker light as well, and they're just on all the time and they don't actually indicate.
It's good for backing out because those taillights are completely flush to the trunk. They don't really do too much off the side, so if you are coming out from an alley or something, you can at least be seen. But it would be nice if, you know, you had some indication from the side of the car that you wanted to turn.
Yeah, like proportion wise, like especially in that shot, you really look down the belt line, like from the trunk down the front fender, you really see that wedge shape that they had designed. And I mean, it works for it, and it looks good from that angle. But then again, you go back to the side shot, and you're just going, okay, what were you guys thinking?
I'm guessing they tested the theory by just taking a doorstop about 4 or 5 feet in the air and dropping it, and then just taking a straight block of wood and dropping it and seeing which one fell faster, which wouldn't work very well because gravity's kind of a constant. But I think they just said this one looks cooler doing it, so doorstop all the way.
Inside's pretty basic. The one thing I never really understood was the overdrive switch is on the left side of the steering wheel, whereas the shifter is on the right. I mean, most vehicles, the overdrive button is on the shifter or around the shifter base somewhere. So that never really made too much sense to me.
On the automatic, you got it just on the shifter.
What's that button on the dashboard you have there? Oh, it's not a button at all.
This is just an indicator.
It's an indicator light.
And it only shines in the driver's eyes, I figured out.
Ah.
It doesn't. If you move off of where you would be driving, it won't be as bright. It's got a weird, like, grain to the plastic or the lens or something, but
Yeah, you have that awesome 80s Tastic radio. Does that thing have an equalizer in it?
it's got the nice basic Toyota equalizer for bass and treble, and then you would pull out the knobs and you would be able to get, well, actually don't quote me on this, I might have it sideways a little bit, but you get bass and treble as one of your fader sets, and when you pull out the knobs you get fade, like front to back and pan, so you can, for whatever reason you might want to adjust the pan of your stereo. Maybe.
Yeah, I say the horn buttons are pretty funny too, because I mean, most cars you're used to, you're getting a little road ragey. You're pounding on the steering wheel. This thing has got 2 little buttons. As like you got to be really intentional with it. It's almost if it's designed you're gonna do some cheery, hey, what's going on, neighbor? I got my hands way down here while I'm driving to push the buttons. But as far as actually like using the horn, it doesn't really make much sense to me.
And when I was setting up my brakes, I every time I reversed, I went to grab the steering wheel, and I'd end up honking the horn at the same time. So every time I was doing the hard stop setting my brakes, it's just state of the art. The difference between, or one of the differences between Andre's more base model and mine is that on the inside here you can see the mirrors can be adjusted from the inside of the car. They're not power. So you have to lean over, check for the right side. And of course, roll down windows. no power.
Yeah, versus the basic one, you have to roll down the window and reach out and adjust it with your hand.
And the funniest thing, I think, was going to the wreckers and realizing that this brown continued well through the early 90s. There were still, like, brown interiors.
Another interesting note, 1987, for a commuter car, no cup holders.
Yeah. If you look at my picture, you'll see that just before the shifter, I found some holes that actually lined up well enough for a cup holder because I wasn't having that.
So now you got some room to...
I don't know how well this would have worked on a manual, but it worked fine for the automatic.
Yeah, you'd probably be knocking your coffee over.
Another interesting feature for the interior, lumbar support. Driver's seat, nice lumbar support, seat raised and lower. That's the LE model that gets it, but...
What are those seats made? Are they cloth or are they like a velour?
Ooh, I would say that is a velour.
Oh yeah, this is definitely the higher trim level then. Oh, look at that. That's also something I don't know if you see very often, but you have grab handles in the back.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Got a place for my dry cleaning.
Actually, there's no hook, so no.
I have to hang them off of the actual handle like some troglodyte.
Yeah, you gotta bend your... Oh, if you have those cheap wire coat hangers, you gotta bend them and hang them up. Which could come in handy, because that's all you need to break into it.
Or brick.
Yeah, you also have looks like a 50-50 split rear seat, which is kind of neat, as opposed to the conventional 60-40 split. And the 60-40 makes a little bit more sense because you can fold one seat down and have a little bit more room versus having to fold both down to fit something through the center.
I think, I didn't bring a measuring tape, but I think there's a bit better clearance in my tunnel to the trunk than there is in the, what's my name, it's like 2014.
Yeah, so
2013, 2014. 7th gen?
9th.
9th gen Civic. It is a much larger car, and for the most part, it's a lot more capable in certain respects as far as volume, all kinds of other features that just make it more practical to drive. But yeah, you want to move that shelf, forget about it. Trunk tunnel, 2 structural pieces right at the bottom of it. A little extra pricing, probably has a stiffer body as a result, but not your friend for long objects. But then again, compact sedans really aren't. I think they call those trucks. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. This was at a time where Toyota was still using their Triple Crown badging on a lot of these, so this is definitely a Triple Crown Toyota. And I mean, the fact that it's like, it has at the time was the build quality of an economy car and is 31 years old, and there's no rattles, there's no squeaks, it's very well built, is pretty amazing. And this is again a testament to Toyota's build quality on their older models. And then you have your classy 13-inch steel wheels, which ultimately the best part is they're very inexpensive to replace tires. Also light to mount and less rotational mass, which I guess helps it going down the road. I've seen pictures on the internet, a couple of these, and people put like 16, 17-inch wheels on them. There's a couple of other people in countries in Asia and South American markets who put like massive wheels on these things, and I don't understand it. It's never really made much sense to me.
From the incredibly practical angle, they don't feel weird, they don't rub, but from the aesthetic angle, it kind of takes on the appearance of some sort of rolling dachshund, just a wiener dog.
Well, one of the things I really like about it from a aesthetic point of view is you have the it's like the center point of the radius is based on the center of the wheel. A lot of other cars you look at, the wheel arches are not exactly round, and they don't have the same gap all the way around, which I find is really aesthetically pleasing.
True say. It is actually pretty consistent. One last thing. No, Dave, don't. Left this little bracket for the storage box that the automatic got, or at least the LE got, wide open. There's a rusty mount on there. I mean, I guess it's brown, so it kind of matches the interior, but it's just a little bit off color. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with my beater car, or my luxury beater, whatever you want to call it.
Your upmarket 80s Econobox. You any plans for this thing?
Well, I intend, you can see on the profile shot there's a little bit of rust that's managed to penetrate, which is typical front wheel drive kind of wear and tear. More on the driver's side, a little bit less on the passenger side. It's a little bit further up on the passenger. It's all kind of towards the front wheel. Wouldn't mind kind of cleaning that up and just getting the car, you know, presentable, but also like maybe a lasting body job of some sort. I'm debating on that. You're in the middle of throwing in a cam gear and I'm debating on it, but it's a thought because it's not a strong, fast car, but you know, a little oomph could make it fun. It already feels like you're flying at 50 miles an hour or 50 kilometers an hour.
The thing is a little go-kart is what it is. Like, it's so light, you're so low to the ground, it's so small and compact. I believe you have a really good 3-to-1 steering ratio. So it handles really well. It's light. It's McPherson struts at all four corners, which is pretty common on everything nowadays. I don't know if yours has a sway bar at all. You might want to put a rear sway bar in it if you want to get it to handle a little tighter without messing with the suspension geometry, like lowering it or anything like that. But some limo tints might look kind of cool.
And just extend that window so it's on solid, nice looking bit. Really bring out that oh goddamn, what is it?
You know what? Now that I squint at it, it looks like a K car. Chrysler Aries. The K chassis. Alright. Good with that? What do you say?
I'm pretty good with that.
I want to do some more, but look more at the camera, I guess. I was trying, I know, so you're looking more at the camera.
Making eye contact with the camera all the time isn't too important for this, I don't think.
Ah.
I think they're gonna know we gotta look at something. Like, even if we stuck it up there, it would be like you're looking down.
Go back to your car. I got a question about this. But does your antenna, is it a power antenna? Is it a power motor?
If it was at one point, it sure isn't now.
Because on mine, it's definitely not a power antenna. And if you want to listen to the radio while you're driving along, you gotta crack the window, and much like the mirror where you adjust it with your hand, you start feeding the antenna out of the A-pillar.
Oh my god.
And I mean, I have a aftermarket deck with auxiliary cable and USB, so that's not usually too much of an issue. But if you want to get the weather, traffic, then yeah, it's definitely something you got to do. When you know you're going 110 cruising down the highway and just feeding it out.
And in your case, listening to almost pure treble because there are no rear speakers to speak of.
Oh, you know, I've got some 4-inch Princess Auto Pyramid $13 surplus speakers put in the rear deck, but it's basically just pure treble. You're right, because the fronts are 4-inch round speakers as well. I mean, that was not, I guess, a strong selling point for this car. Its audio system, but as far as like, it doesn't make any sense to put anything else in it or redo it at all because try and keep it light.
Alright, well, if you liked us picking apart my car, I guess we were a little softball, but well, let me try that again. Alright, well, if you enjoyed this, hit like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on something with a bit more. No.
Like, the other thing is it's worth, I think it's somewhat worth noting, if you look at the values of old Toyotas that are largely rust-free and fairly low mileage like this is, they tend to hold their value. Now, I know this car doesn't have much of an enthusiast following, but as there are becoming less and less of them on the road, I mean, the values do tend to go up a little bit.
Dave's getting rich.
Well, especially for those nostalgic buyers.
Dave's the only nostalgic buyer. No.
Yeah, I think that's it for this segment of the show. If you're like what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. We'll be updating the blue Toyota. Its parts are on the way, and there's some custom suspension work that needs to be done. And I'll leave it at that, so you can like and subscribe and tune in for that later.
How do you get away on a Sunday afternoon?
Magic. This is a window. This is a window. But
Nap time?
Yep, it's nap time. Yeah, I got till 2:30.
Ah.
1 to 2:30. Yeah, if you're not too concerned with looking directly at the camera, that should be fine.
like occasionally is good.